Have you ever felt the weight of life pressing down on you, as if no matter how hard you chase success or pleasure, it slips further from your grasp? You wake up every morning with the quiet anxiety that you're behind, that the world is racing ahead while you're stuck waiting for something you'll never reach. Society whispers that effort alone, relentless striving, and control over every circumstance are the keys to security, wealth, and happiness. And so you push, you struggle, you chase, and yet the more you chase, the further away it seems. But what if all of this common advice, the sermons of discipline and hustle, are actually a trap that blinds you to what life wants to give you naturally? The truth is subtler, almost imperceptible. Life does not require your grasping, your forcing, your planning to give you what you need. Wealth, pleasure, fulfillment, they are not prizes awarded to the frantic or the clever. They are echoes of your alignment with life itself, reflections of your ability to trust rather than wrestle. When you stop believing that the world owes you anything and start listening to its rhythm, a strange clarity emerges. You begin to see that what appears to be scarcity is actually abundance waiting, and what seems like delay is the universe preparing you to receive what you are ready for. This is not a promise of laziness or resignation, nor is it an excuse to do nothing. It is an invitation to awaken to a deeper law, that life responds not to pressure, but to presence. To trust life is to discover a hidden flow beneath the noise of deadlines, comparisons, and ambition. And when you glimpse that flow, everything changes. The way you move, the way you decide, the way you measure success. Life begins to arrive for you, rather than you perpetually running after it. If you've ever felt the frustration of trying harder and getting less, of planning endlessly only to find emptiness, then this reflection is meant for you. It's for the men who carry responsibilities, doubts, and desires, who feel both the thrill of potential and the ache of unfulfilled dreams. And as you listen, I invite you to subscribe, share this reflection, and comment with your thoughts. By doing so, you not only deepen your own understanding, but help others who are silently wrestling with the same illusions discover this hidden truth. That trust, not force, is the key. For most of your life, you have been taught that control is the path to safety, that only by tightening your grip on circumstances, money, and opportunity can you secure the life you desire. You wake each day thinking that wealth must be hunted, pleasure must be earned, and success must be wrestled from the indifferent world. And for a while, this seems true. You measure progress in numbers, in achievements, in outward proof of your effort. Friends, colleagues, and even family reinforce the story. Strive more, do more, be more. The irony is that the more you believe in this, the more anxious you feel, the more hollow the victories become, and the more distant the sense of fulfillment appears. What you once thought was a path to freedom now feels like chains disguised as ambition. But there is a hidden truth you rarely hear. Life is not a battlefield that requires conquest. Wealth and pleasure are not prizes to be seized, but companions that appear when your energy is no longer consumed by grasping. When you stop fighting reality, when you pause your relentless striving, you discover that life has already arranged opportunities around you. The river of existence flows regardless of your insistence, and when you align with it, the currents carry you naturally toward abundance. The anxiety that once felt unavoidable begins to fade, replaced by a subtle calm. You start to notice doors opening without effort, relationships deepening without manipulation, and pleasures arising in unexpected forms. It is as if life responds to trust rather than coercion. Others may notice this change in you and misinterpret it. They may see distance, aloofness, or even arrogance. They will whisper that you've lost ambition, that you've stopped caring, or that something is missing. Yet the truth is precisely the opposite. You are more present, more grounded, more capable of receiving life fully than ever before. Your apparent detachment is the strength of someone who no longer wastes energy on illusions. You begin to see the difference between what is truly yours and what is a mirage, between what sustains you and what distracts you. This shift in perception, subtle yet profound, transforms not only the way you move through the world, but also how the world responds to you. And as this new vision takes root, your inner life begins to reflect it. Anxiety loosens its grip, fear of scarcity diminishes, and the emptiness of relentless striving gives way to a quiet satisfaction. Each day, you experience more freedom, not the noisy, temporary freedom of indulgence, but the deep freedom of alignment. You realize that pleasure is not something to be taken, it is something that unfolds in the presence of acceptance. Wealth is not a conquest, it is an echo of your harmony with life's rhythm. And when you act from this place, every decision, every encounter, every moment carries the unmistakable clarity of one who is no longer separated from the source of abundance. We are taught to fear desire, as if wanting something makes us weak or incomplete. Yet desire is not the enemy. It is a signal, a compass pointing toward what resonates with your deepest self. The mistake lies in trying to force desire into immediate results, in believing that wanting something means you must grab it with urgency and control. In doing so, you confuse effort with fulfillment, and the pleasure you seek becomes a shadow that recedes whenever you reach for it. Life then appears cruel, as if it punishes ambition, when in truth it is teaching a subtle lesson. Trust is stronger than grasping. You begin to understand that desire, when held lightly, is a guide, not a chain. Power, too, is misunderstood. Society paints power as domination, as the ability to bend others and circumstances to your will. But true power is not measured in control over things outside you. It is measured by the clarity and steadiness within. The man who trusts life is powerful precisely because he is not enslaved by need or expectation. He does not react anxiously to what is missing. He moves freely through uncertainty, seeing opportunity in stillness and cultivating influence by presence rather than pressure. What seems like passivity is actually mastery. What seems like waiting is deliberate movement, rooted in a wisdom deeper than any instruction manual or strategy could provide. Masculinity itself begins to shift in meaning. You once believed it required conquest, accumulation, or proving yourself at every turn. Now you see that it is not a display of force, but the quiet assurance of one who has come to terms with life's impermanence and unpredictability. Your strength emerges not from outward recognition, but from the inner trust that life will unfold as it must. Others may call this strange, unambitious, or even lazy, but you know the truth. Every movement you make is precise, purposeful, and aligned with the natural flow of existence. What once seemed like deficiency is actually an invisible alignment with the very currents that bring abundance, pleasure, and fulfillment. As you begin to embody this understanding, the effects ripple outward. Your interactions with people are less reactive and more resonant. You no longer seek validation in approval or admiration. Instead, presence and authenticity become your currency. Opportunities arrive in ways you could not have orchestrated. Moments of joy, ease, and satisfaction appear spontaneously, as if life itself is rewarding your patience and trust. And in this transformation, you begin to see the paradox that Alan Watts spoke of. The more you stop chasing, the more life comes to you. The very act of surrendering to trust becomes the engine that propels wealth, pleasure, and meaning toward you. As you begin to move through life with this newfound trust, the reactions of others become a mirror reflecting their own misunderstandings. Some will see you as distant, detached, or even arrogant. They may whisper that you have changed, that you are no longer striving in the right way, that you have abandoned ambition or drive. Yet what they perceive as coldness or indifference is merely the natural space that emerges when a man stops clinging to illusions. You are not absent, You are present in a deeper, quieter sense. Your attention is no longer scattered by the demands of validation, but concentrated on the life that is unfolding before you. This creates a tension. How the world sees you is often at odds with who you truly are. The essence of your being has shifted. You are calmer, more grounded, and more capable of discerning what truly matters. You are no longer defined by the frantic pursuit of wealth or the empty pleasures of approval. Instead, you radiate a confidence born of alignment, a sense of direction that is invisible yet palpable. People may mistake this for pride or aloofness, but it is simply the natural consequence of living in harmony with life's rhythm. Your outer stillness conceals an inner vitality, a quiet strength that others cannot manufacture because it comes not from effort, but from surrender. This contrast between appearance and essence deepens as time goes on. The man who once hustled for every token of recognition now walks through the world lightly, his steps measured not by fear of loss, but by trust in unfolding events. The world may label him strange, unpredictable, or even unmotivated, yet each of these judgments confirms that he is living authentically. Others cling to old measures of success and status, but he has discovered a higher metric, the alignment of action, thought, and desire with the flow of existence. This alignment becomes a hidden power, subtle but transformative, allowing life to guide him toward what truly matters. And in the silence of this inner transformation, something remarkable occurs. The anxieties that once defined his days diminish, replaced by a deep clarity. Moments of doubt are met not with panic, but with patience. Obstacles are no longer barriers, but invitations to witness life's intelligence. The man who trusted life begins to see that what once seemed like loneliness is actually freedom, that what appeared as loss is simply space for gain, and that what others call risk is often the doorway to deeper fulfillment. The tension between how he is perceived and who he is becomes a teaching itself. The outer world rarely understands the workings of the inner life, yet the inner life quietly flourishes regardless. You begin to see failure not as a verdict, but as information. What once crushed you now becomes a teacher, revealing the limitations of control and the illusions that guided your previous efforts. Every setback, every disappointment is a mirror showing how tightly you once clung to outcomes and how far you were from the natural flow of life. In releasing the need to force results, you start to realize that wealth and pleasure are not rewards for suffering or struggle. They are byproducts of your alignment with reality. The more you surrender to the rhythm of existence, the more opportunities arise effortlessly, and the more enjoyment flows naturally without the tension of expectation. Pleasure no longer feels like a fleeting chase, but emerges as a quiet resonance with the moment. You discover that indulgence without awareness leaves you hollow, while presence with life, even in small joys, fills you completely. The world may still insist that you earn happiness through achievement or conquest, but you now understand that true satisfaction does not arrive through coercion. It manifests when your actions reflect understanding rather than fear, when your attention is liberated from obsession with results, and when your desires are embraced as guides instead of obligations. Each experience becomes richer, not because it is grander, but because you are fully attuned to it. Even wealth, which once seemed a product of relentless struggle, begins to appear differently. It is no longer a measure of your worth or a shield against anxiety. Instead, it becomes a reflection of your trust in life's intelligence, a sign that you are moving in harmony with the currents of existence. The accumulation of money is no longer a frantic endeavor. Opportunities present themselves with a surprising ease. Doors open where once they were closed, and the fear of scarcity dissolves. You are no longer the man chasing every coin and trophy. You are the man who has recognized the hidden law. Effort without trust is friction. Trust without effort is flow. And the combination of both is the natural unfolding of abundance. And as this new perspective deepens, its effect radiates beyond finances and pleasure. Relationships improve because you no longer manipulate or demand. You listen, understand, and act from authenticity. Work, creativity, and personal projects thrive because your energy is no longer wasted on control or worry. Life itself seems to conspire in subtle ways. The challenges that once felt impossible become manageable. The successes that once felt hollow now resonate with meaning. You begin to experience what Alan Watts suggested all along, that the more you let go of desperation and insistence, the more life arrives fully, and in doing so, transforms you from a man tethered to outcomes into a man who embodies the effortless abundance of existence itself. As this trust in life grows, the transformation extends to every layer of your existence. On the outside, you may appear detached, unconventional, or even mysterious to those around you. Friends and colleagues may comment on your calm, on the way you no longer scramble for recognition or status. They may misinterpret your composure as indifference or lack of ambition. Yet beneath that exterior lies a profound reordering of priorities. Your energy is no longer scattered by worry, your mind is clear, and your actions are deliberate and intentional. You operate from a center of quiet authority, and every choice is informed by a deep understanding of what truly matters. Internally, the shift is even more profound. Anxiety, once the constant companion of every effort, loosens its grip. The tension between desire and fear eases, leaving room for clarity and focus. Your attention is no longer divided between striving and survival. It rests fully in the present, attuned to the subtle movements of life. You begin to notice the small miracles, opportunities that appear without effort, moments of joy that arrive without warning, and the natural unfolding of success without struggle. The man who trusted life is no longer chasing, manipulating, or fearing. He is receiving, observing, and participating in the flow of existence. And in this participation, life's abundance becomes tangible. This transformation creates a feedback loop that reinforces itself. As you act from presence and trust, the world responds in kind. Doors open where none seemed possible, people align with your path without coercion, and situations resolve themselves with a simplicity that surprises you. Your life begins to expand in ways you could not have orchestrated, as if the universe is conspiring in quiet collaboration with your newfound alignment. What once required relentless effort now arrives naturally. What once felt like struggle now feels like participation in a larger rhythm. You experience the paradox that Alan Watts spoke of. By relinquishing control, you gain mastery. By stopping the chase, abundance comes to you effortlessly. Even failure, uncertainty, or external challenges no longer shake you. You perceive them as part of the natural pattern, as signals rather than obstacles. The fear of missing out, of inadequacy, or of being left behind diminishes because you have discovered the underlying truth. Life, when trusted, has a way of delivering exactly what you need at the right moment. Your desires, pleasures, and wealth are not distant goals but companions along the path of understanding. The tension between appearance and essence fades, as the man who once chased becomes the man who flows, grounded, strong, and aligned with the invisible currents that carry him forward. The escalation of consequences is subtle, but undeniable. Each day lived with trust reinforces clarity, resilience, and freedom. Relationships, career, health, and personal fulfillment all benefit from the invisible strength of alignment. What was once perceived as passivity is now recognized as wisdom. What seemed like emptiness is now fullness. What appeared as loss becomes liberation. And through it all, the man who trusted life discovers the profound secret. The gifts he once pursued with anxiety and force now arrive effortlessly because he has become the kind of man capable of receiving them fully. And so, what once looked like isolation now reveals itself as clarity. The frantic struggle to grasp, to control, and to force outcomes which once consumed your life has given way to a quiet presence that understands the rhythm of existence. What seemed like weakness, pausing, trusting, waiting, has become your strength. The very act of surrendering to life's intelligence has made you more capable, more resilient, more alive than ever before. You are no longer defined by external approval, by fleeting pleasures, or by the chase for wealth. You are defined by the depth of your attention, the steadiness of your trust, and the alignment of your desires with the natural flow of being. What looked like loss, the letting go of control, the abandonment of old habits, the seeming absence of visible victories, has transformed into liberation. Life is no longer a battleground where you struggle to prove yourself or acquire what is needed. It has become a dance in which your steps are guided by understanding rather than anxiety, by presence rather than fear. In this paradox, every moment becomes richer, every opportunity more vibrant, and every pleasure more profound. You are not lost, you are not behind, and you are not alone. You are exactly where you need to be, living fully in the only way that truly matters, in harmony with life itself. And so, as you reflect on this, I invite you to continue this journey of understanding. Subscribe to this channel to explore more reflections like this. Share this video with someone who may need to hear this message, and comment with your experiences, insights, or moments of awakening. Each comment enriches the conversation, giving life to a community of men who are learning to trust, to receive, and to live fully. Your words may be the key that opens another person to the hidden truth that life is already offering abundance, pleasure, and fulfillment. They simply need to trust, just as you have learned to trust.